Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Dear fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Elon Musk says artificial intelligence is the biggest threat to humanity. I wanted to understand why, and in this speech, I'm going to tell you what I've learned. First, we need to talk about what artificial intelligence is. You see, historically, computer programs have been completely based on logic. What that means is that if you take a computer program and you look at specific parts of it, you'll find statements such as, if you're in this condition, run this command. If you're in this other condition, run this other command. But increasingly, we're using software that is not being explicitly programmed. Gmail cannot write if statements to find out if an email is spam. They cannot go, if in the title of the email such a word exists, it will be spam. Rather, they have to provide a bunch of data to this program, and the program has to learn to detect spam. Now, the interesting thing about these programs is that you cannot completely predict the outcome of them. With traditional computer programs, you knew that if you give input A to the program, you're going to get output B. But with machine learning and AI programs, if you give it a new input, you're not sure what you'll get out. The reason for that is that you have given it a data set, and it has learned to do that task. So you cannot predict with 100% accuracy what you're going to get in once you give it an input. Okay, now we're in good shape to talk about AI. There are three stages of AI. There's artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial super intelligence. Among the experts in this field, experts in artificial intelligence and machine learning, they all agree that we're going to reach stage 3. Basically everyone, 98% of them. But they do disagree on when we're going to reach this stage. Most of them think we're going to reach it within 100 years. Okay, let's start with artificial narrow intelligence. Think of your Google Assistant or your Siri, the way that you talk to it and it understands what you're saying. That is an example of artificial narrow intelligence. Think of Gmail and the way it sorts your spam emails. So these are computers or programs that are very good at doing a single task that they've been trained to do. But they're completely useless in anything else. They can't do anything else. They can't do the most basic thing outside of what they've been trained in doing so. Next, we have artificial general intelligence. These are machines that are basically as smart as human beings. But on top of that, they have all the advantages that a typical machine has over a human being. They're much faster, much more efficient, and they have a significantly lower downtime compared to human beings. Now, somewhere between artificial narrow intelligence and artificial general intelligence, we're going to lose a massive percentage of our workforce. Obviously, we can get replaced by these machines that we're creating. That's going to be a huge problem, as a lot of us put our emphasis on the work that we do. But that is not the reason Elon says artificial intelligence is our biggest threat. Before we move on and talk about artificial superintelligence, we need to discuss what intelligence is. We can all agree that humans are more intelligent than chimps, and chimps are more intelligent than ants. A chimp cannot build a skyscraper, but it cannot even comprehend that a human being built a skyscraper. It can look at a skyscraper, and it can obviously see the object, but it cannot understand that a human being built it. When we talk about artificial superintelligence, we're talking about a machine that is so smart that we do not even understand it. We will not be able to comprehend it. It will make decisions that will not make sense to us. It will be able to solve humanity's toughest problems. And this is where the existential threat could start. Let us imagine we have an artificial superintelligence, also known as ASI. We ask it to solve different problems. One day, we ask it to decrease the number of spams that we receive in our inbox. It does that by killing all human beings. I know it sounds funny, but a good way to decrease the number of spams that we receive is to get rid of the sources, which are human beings. This is where people usually say, well, it's a simple fix. We're just going to give it our ethic code, and it's going to learn not to kill human beings or do anything that harms human beings. Well, two questions. Which ethic code? Clearly, as human beings, we can never agree on what is right or wrong. So who gets to decide which ethic code we're going to give it? Second of all, even if we decide which ethic code we're going to give it, what makes us think the ethic code that we give it will not have any gaps? Governments spend millions of dollars to come up with comprehensive tax laws, yet normal human beings find gaps in it and abuse it. So if you do come up with if you do come up with the ethic code, there will be gaps in it, and the artificial intelligence machine will be able to abuse it. Now let's get one thing straight. An AI machine will not go evil or will not go bad. It will not intentionally kill human beings or harm human beings in any way. The way it works is that when it's trying to reach its goal, it might harm human beings in the process. The same way that I don't go around intentionally killing ants. But if I want to build a new house and there happens to be an ant colony in the land where I try to build a house, I have no problem killing the whole colony, right? So it works in the same way. I want to finish off by drawing a parallel between nuclear weapons and artificial intelligence. It sounds funny again. But if nuclear weapons were easy to make, didn't have such a huge barrier to entry, terrorists would have nuked many cities. Many cities would have been sent back to the Stone Age. But they can't do that because nuclear weapons are expensive, require a lot of infrastructure, and require a lot of time to build. And they're also heavily regulated. Artificial intelligence, on the other hand, obviously not the state that we're in right now, but we're thinking long term. In the long term, all the research that's done in artificial intelligence is open source. That means that I can find all the research that's done around the world and build on top of it. Second of all, the infrastructure that you need for artificial intelligence is computational power. Computational power has gotten cheaper and cheaper over the years. Lastly, I want to make sure that I get this point across. I love AI. Every time a new startup starts and has an application of AI, I get excited. When I hear Google making all these new applications AI that make my daily life easier, I get excited because I know it's going to make my life easier. But I do think we need to be careful in the long term. And I'm talking really long term, within the 60 to 80 years. While we develop this technology, let's make sure that we don't develop something that will harm us in the long run. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paiman. Unfortunately, I am not worried about artificial intelligence because we're all a simulation anyways.